Serenity Funeral Home. We are a family owned and operated funeral home where we offer complete personalized funeral services, leading our community in funeral and cremation services. Make an appointment for your pre need and at need arrangements by calling us at 702 647 0123. Once again, that number is 702 647 0123. Serenity Funeral Home, caring for your loved ones as if they're our own.
Chico Sticks, Pickles, Jolly Ranchers, Mary Jane's, Pop Rocks, Lemon Heads. Should I go on? Bitter Honey, Freeze Cups, Candy Cigarettes. Listen, how about you make your way down to the modern day Candy Lady and see all of this and more? Satisfy that sweet tooth Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Sight and Sound Candy and more. Follow us on IG at Sight and Sound Candy and on Facebook at Sight and Sound Candy. We are located at 1000 North Martin Luther King on the corner of Washington and MLK. Give us a call, 702-648-4444. Again, that number, 702-648-4444. Thank you.
Broadcasting live from downtown Las Vegas, you're tuned in to Gorilla Cross Radio.
Yo, you tuned in to Gorilla Cross Radio.
Welcome to Let the Ball Bounce. This your host, Dre Bailey.
And it's your man, Goose Thomas. What it is, people?
It's the Bill, Blockham, Logan, and Sherm in the building today, man.
Oh, boy.
Hey, we need everybody to go right now. If you are watching us, Let the Ball Bounce on Facebook, please share our live feed.
Please.
Right now, share the live feed. Share. We have a great show for you guys today. Follow Let the Ball Bounce at gmail.com if you want to be a sponsor of the show. Hit us up, be a sponsor of the show, like Serenity Funeral Home and Sight and Sound, Candy and more. And that's Serenity Funeral Home off of Sahara and Maryland Parkway, man, off Almond Tree Lane, man. So we love you guys. We appreciate you. Please go out. If you have a candy fix, go over to Sight and Sound, Candy and more.
Indeed.
Off that old Highland over there.
Off that old Highland.
All right? Let the ball bounce.
What y'all know about Highland?
Man.
Come on, man.
Y'all from the north.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Hey.
Y'all from the north, man.
Hey, man.
Y'all don't know about that Highland.
Hey, man. Where you from originally, Bill?
I'm from the west.
Originally?
Yes.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
I was born in Regular States.
That's right.
I ain't
That's
tripping.
right. No. Hey, it's all good, baby.
It's all good.
It's all Vegas.
Where you think
baby.
we have to go to get our Jerry curls done?
It's all Vegas,
Right
baby.
there on
Yeah, you
Highland.
did.
It's
Yeah, you
all
did.
Vegas, baby.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
It is what it is, man. Let the ball bounce. Sports Talk Radio on Twitter, and that's with
One
one T.
T.
Let the ball bounce on IG,
Yes, sir.
right? And let the ball bounce, man, on Gorilla Cross app, man. Download the Gorilla Cross app on your phone and follow the LTBB crew. Let the ball bounce crew,
Yeah, man.
as we give you guys the best of Sports Talk Radio. Look, man, we have a great show for you today. We have, it's
Man,
just,
Can't
you know,
even put this into words.
yeah, the
dude.
intro
Can't.
for our next guest, who is right now Skyping in, is amazing.
Yeah.
Trend setting,
Yeah.
being able to be a free thinker, being able to stand on his own too.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm going to leave it at that, man. We have a great show. We have a lot of sports to talk to you about. But right now, man.
Look, man, we have the legendary Dr. John Carlos in the building with us, man. How are you this evening, sir? Wow.
As we're hooked up, man, I'm doing great. I'm even feeling better.
Yes, sir.
That's good.
And I'm glad, we spoke a couple of weeks ago, and you said you were a little bit under the weather and that you would definitely be here to do the show for us, man. And again, like I said before, man, you are a man of your word, man, and we appreciate you, man, from Let the Ball Bounce Sports Talk Radio, man.
Thank you. And listen, before we start, man, let me just give a shout out to my brother Spencer Haywood.
Yes.
And let him know we feel his loss.
Yeah.
We're in prayer for him, man.
Yeah.
And we just pray for him and his family. They'll come out strong.
Yes, indeed.
And anyone that has a good heart, man, should say a prayer and reach out to Spencer as well, because he's one of the better people I've met in my life.
Yes, indeed,
Yeah,
man.
appreciate
Yes,
that.
indeed, man. I mean, wow. Where do we start with Dr. John Carlos, man? A Harlem kid.
Yeah.
East Texas State, then on to the Bay Area to San Jose State. Like 3 different cultures, 3 different melting pots. Give us a quick synopsis just on your journey as a man. Not we're going to get to the track stuff later, but as a man, give us a quick synopsis of your journey as a man.
Well, you know, like I said, I was born and raised in Lenox Avenue, New York. Went to Frederick Douglass Junior High School, Machine and Metal Trades High School. Then I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. I got married my senior year in high school.
Wow.
Not because my wife was pregnant, because I loved her and,
That's right.
and we didn't get so after our marriage. Let me just make that clear for all the youngsters out there.
That's right. That's right.
And then a great thing happened to me, man. You know, being young and I was looking for living quarters, and I applied to get one of the apartments in the project. You know, for any young individual, an apartment in the project is good because, you know, you got a ceiling already as far as your rent go.
That's right.
And just as I received a letter from the project telling me that I was selected as one of the new tenants, I received another letter and told me that I received a scholarship to East Texas State University. I talked to the coach at East Texas State University for quite some time. And I'm going to be frank, you know, when I was a kid going to school, man, I didn't really have no need for school. So relative to the race relations in the South, I had, you know, whispers about what was going on in the South, but I never connected Texas with the South. And when I East Texas State to Dallas, the first thing I noticed when I got off the plane in the airport, the airport was about a third of what it is today.
Sure.
And they had this big statue, Texas Ranger on his horse. And I looked over and I saw a sign said restroom colors only. And then said restroom whites only. But not only did the signs separate, but they had a distinct difference. In the whites only restroom, you know, you could cook some eggs on the floor. I mean, that's how it was.
Yeah.
And the colors restroom, man, there was gnats flying around and water running, toilet paper, you know, like they didn't give a hoot about them.
Right.
And when the coach came, you know, all the time he was talking to me, her name was John Carlos. And then when I got there, they had my wife and my daughter with me. And, you know, he called me this word. It sounds so much like the N word. But my wife told me, no, I don't think I said, well, you damn close. The word he used, Negro at the time, Negro. But Negro fast sounds like the true word.
Sure.
So right away, I'm thinking to myself at the airport there, man, I made a mistake. And the mistake was that I brought my wife and daughter down there. I should have checked it out on my own before I went.
Yeah.
But I've never been one to call my mom and dad and tell them I made a mistake. You know, I need money. So that's why I stick it out. But I tried to stick it out down there as long as I could. But, you know, race relations was bad. And me coming off of Lenox Avenue in Harlem, New York, to go to Texas, to Commerce, Texas, it was a no-win situation. So after being there a year and a half, I think I was there maybe roughly a year, not quite a year and a half. And, you know, I met my requirements as far as athletics is concerned, because I went down there and broke all the records and won the Lone Star Conference for them. And then I'm matriculated on back to New York. And then I'm, you know, trying to figure out what's my next move in life. And I was helping my mother paint the kitchen one day, and the phone rang, and my mother answered, and she told me, so it's Mr. Edwards is on the phone, I'd like to talk to you, which turned out to be Professor Harry Edwards.
Professor Harry Edwards,
And
yes.
they were having a meeting in New York at the old Americana Hotel, which was across the street from the old garden. He says, at this meeting, they asked me to invite you. So I asked my mother, I said, Mom, these people invite me to this meeting. You think you can get away with me, you know, going down? She said, well, if they invited you, you need to be there. So I said, well, I got myself together and I went on down there. It kind of blew me away because as long as I grew up in New York, I only been in the high-rise hotels maybe twice in my life. One was to run out of the rain, and then the other one was to go down there for this meeting.
Right.
And when I went up to the door and I knocked on the door, the guy opened the door and I'm looking at him and I'm baffled because I know it's the guy, but my brain has said, no, it can't be the guy, but it is the guy. It's not the guy, back and forth. Because the guy that I saw was altogether different than what I thought. I thought the guy was about 6'4", but he looked like he was about maybe 5'2". And the individual just happened to be Dr. Andrew Young.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what blew me. All the time I was thinking then and thinking now that the photographer must have been laying on his back when he took pictures of Dr. Young.
Right.
He was real nice, very cordial, invited me in, you want a soda, you want a sandwich, whatever they had to offer. But when I got in there, I realized that I was in the room amongst a whole bunch of luminaries, man, people that I saw on TV with my parents and my brothers and sisters,
Yeah.
And the question is coming to me, what am I doing here with these people?
Mm-hmm.
And roughly about maybe 20, 25 minutes later, a side door opened and Dr. King walked out.
Wow.
And now you talk about ready to turn into I would. Well, that was me. And all I could think of at that time was, man, my mother needed to be here. She needed to be a bug on my lapel or a rock in my pocket. She needs to be here for this because my mother and father followed every move that Dr. King and all the civil rights workers, every move they made, they was with them.
Wow.
So, Dr. King was talking about he wanted to come out and support the Olympic boycott of San Jose. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't even reached San Jose yet. I'd gone there in previous year, I think in 1965, with a fellow that ran for Southern University by name of George Anderson. We went down to San Jose to visit, but I really didn't have any intention of staying there. Mm-hmm. But after Professor Edwards made the offer to me, I said, well, I'll talk to my wife and maybe we'll go on down there, which eventually we matriculated on down to San Jose. Right. When I got to San Jose wasn't much more going on than what was happening in East Texas State.
Sure.
Relative to the complexity of the situation, blacks still had to, go find somebody white to try and get a rent an apartment or what have you, or rent them a house. It was almost like at that particular time like a one-horse town, but it was nice. It was California, and then we dug in, and when I got on the track, I guess coming from New York, you braggadocious. That's what they try to say, but I think I was more confident in myself. Right.
Yeah.
And the guys didn't particularly like me based on their abilities as the athletes, and they figured they was more superior until they see me step on the track, and then they kind of quieted things down because they realized that I was there.
That's right.
So, we got together. We did some good things there as far as athletics went. And I think we set the tide to a lot of schools throughout the United States or around the world for that matter in terms of teaching them about speed as well as teaching them about manhood.
Right. Dr. Carlos, can you do us a favor and raise your camera up just a little bit for us? We can see your face. You had your face chopped off a little bit there. There you go, sir. Appreciate that.
Is that good now?
Yeah, there you go.
That's
yes,
perfect.
Sir. Absolutely.
That's perfect. This is a really surreal moment for all of us. All of us here at the table has participated in track and field throughout our lives. Yeah. And number one, for me, Dre Bailey, I want to say thank you. Yeah. I want to say thank you for being able to make a stand and take a stand and stick by it. Mm-hmm. That simple act alone sparked something in me to really push forward with track and field, which, I went on to get a track scholarship. But it was that moment, that very moment when you made up in your mind to do what you did, it impacted someone way here in Las Vegas. And for that, I want to say thank you.
Well, thank you. And man, I can go so far as to tell you today, sitting in this chair talking to you, that I believe I was born June 5th, 1945, to be in Mexico City, October 16th, 1968. Based on a vision that I had when I was a kid. I was about 7, 8 years old. And God showed me a vision of me as a kid in a grass area. I didn't know what the stadium was. I couldn't see the people, but I could hear the people excited about something. And, being a young kid at that age, you stand on a box out in the grass field and no one's out there but you. It takes a second or two before it dawned on you that they're happy about something you did. And I remember going to wave to the people. And I'm right-handed. But in this vision, I'm going to get up on my toes, man, because I want to be everybody to see me, man, because I'm just excited about I did something that makes them happy.
That's right.
And just went to raise my hand. If you look at the portrait, you notice my hand was not erect like Tommy Smith. My hand was more in a power sign.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what happened was my hand froze in time because all the excitement, good, happy, as I say, yippee-ki-yay, and I might say, turned to venom and anger and hatred, just like somebody hit a light switch.
Yeah.
And it scared me for the remainder of that day. I remember going to dinner that night with my parents, my brothers and sisters, and my father could see I was distraught about something. He said, "Johnny, what's the matter?" I said, "Daddy, I was in a movie." "We're in a movie?" "Well, what happened?" I said, "Everybody was happy about something I did, and then they got mad at me, and they started spitting at me, calling me names, and throwing things at me." Wow. And my father, I remember he brought me into his rib cage. He said, "Son, no one is going to bother you." He said, "My job is to love you, protect you, house you, feed you, and see you get a good education. Yeah. Nobody's going to bother you." That's right. I remember he my head, said to me, he said, "Vi, it looked like God's got something special for this kid. We're going to have to wait." Now, I don't know whether it was to that day, but 15 years later, I was on the victory stand, and the exact same thing that happened in that vision as a kid.
Wow.
Happened today. So, in terms of the true grit that I have or tenacity that I have, I think this is all part of the package that the Creator gave me.
Wow.
Your story is impressive to all of us. For the last week, all we've talked about is this particular interview, and all of us here on the panel, all track athletes, from high school to college. Track is really the foundation of all sports in our opinion. So your story resonates deeply with us from on the track and then what you've done off of it. And this show brings sports and culture and social consciousness to the public. That's what we pride ourselves on. So I can talk for hours about track. I can go into the Olympic trials when you broke the world record and won that.
The spikes,
the illegal spikes.
Yeah. Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
Yes.
All those things I can go into. But what I want to know is when you made that stand and the vitriol and the hatred that came from the public because of what you did. And I saw an interview where you said you wanted to represent power, specifically Black power, and how the word power to a lot of people means destruction. And they relate Black power to Black destruction, but yet it's an uplifting thing. But not only that, all the different social movements that you did leading up to the stand, taking your shoes off, wearing the beads, unzipping your jacket. Can you explain all of the different movements that you did in that one moment, and then how you just felt at that time, and then the hatred that came after?
Excellent.
All right, let's start with the word power. It wasn't, Black power, because, when we went there under the auspices of human rights. Yes. We had a project, Olympic Project for Human Rights. But when you say Black power, in essence, if you looked at that fist, it's an open hand. There's 5 Black people there. And if one of them say, "Man, if I could move this pebble to the other side of the road, we could make a significant advancement for our race." And one of them jumped down and he can't do it. Another one jumped down and said, "Man, you didn't put your hips into it. Let me show you how to do it." He's down there, he can't do it. But by the time he's done, all of them begin to realize if we come together and we become a very powerful force, that's where the Black power comes from, through unity.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, talk about the symbols, my father was just born, coming to the world 30 years after slavery in South Carolina. My mom was an immigrant to come in from Cuba. So, I never forgot about my mother coming in and going to the abortion offices downtown in New York and cleaning abortion offices and so forth. My father, come in and he was an entrepreneur. He had his own business. He was a shoemaker or a cobbler. But they made me understand what it was about for like the blue collar workers, that's the real ones that make this country flourish. But they never get any acknowledgement, or they never even get a thought, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
So went through the process of this demonstration. There's certain things that we wanted to put up in imagery to reflect on these issues. Like, for instance, we went out there with no shoes on, in black socks. Why did we go out there with no shoes and black socks? Because we wanted to emphasize black poverty throughout the United States.
Yeah.
Mr. Smith had a black scarf on his neck. The black scarf that he had on his neck was to emphasize black pride.
Mm-hmm.
I had beads on my neck to emphasize the lynchings that had been taking place prior to my life, during my life, and hence my life.
Mm.
And then, same time, I had my jacket open, you might say, out of protocol, because I wanted to represent those blue collar workers that I mentioned. And if I had my jacket open, you should have been able to see my USA uniform. And I had that covered up with a black sweater for the simple reason that I was ashamed of America, because I thought America could have done a lot better what they've done with their people, particularly people of color.
Absolutely. Wow.
The shoe, took the Puma shoe out there because the Puma shoe was something that black people at that particular time couldn't get Adidas.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be a superstar to get Adidas.
Right.
And I worked when I was a kid in high school, and the individuals that I worked with at the time were good people. And I felt if we're going to make a statement, Puma needs to be there with me because they enhanced my career in track and field.
Wow. Unbelievable, man.
That is
That's crazy.
I think the level of consciousness during that time has yet. I mean, we've had people come close. Muhammad Ali and other people have walked that path, but I think the level of consciousness that from those single acts have been unmatched.
Yeah.
I don't think that we have, or we should, we have picked that up and really took that torch and ran with it the way that we could have.
Sure.
As black athletes.
Sure.
So
I think so much
Right.
was said in that moment, though, without saying a word. That time when the national anthem was being played, and I also want you to allude to how important Peter Norman was in that moment as well.
yes.
But because he absolutely was a slight symbol in that moment. But go ahead.
I'm very happy that you said that because I was going to do that.
Yes, sir.
But I'm just excited about the fact that you wanted to hear Peter's contribution because
Absolutely.
he made a big contribution to what that they presented.
Sure.
Let me say about Mr. Norman in what year was it? I think it was 1966. I had gone to Australia and I ran against Peter then, but I didn't know Peter. Peter didn't know me. I'm just down there doing my thing,
Sure.
And then when we got to Mexico, we started our rounds. And I'm running my rounds and I'm cruising through, and I see this dude rolling up on me. So as we go through the tape, I kind of like waved him off, like, man, you ain't. But went through a vision, and I see him waving me back off.
Right.
And I said, oh, this dude got some smoke. I like that.
Yeah.
And we got to talking and so forth, and we then went through our process of elimination in the rounds and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And once we, made the victory stand, before we went out to the victory stand, we were inside. As a matter of fact, I might add that the demonstration was just actually put together between the quarter semi and the final.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to find out what we had to bring to the table. Mr. Smith had the gloves. I said, bring them. We finally stacked up everything, got that right. So now we didn't qualify. Now we're in the tunnel before we go out to the podium. And, we in there getting our symbols together. And Peter said, man, what are you guys doing? And I said, let me ask you a question, Peter. He said, what's that? I said, do you believe in human rights? And he said, of course I believe in human rights. And he began to tell me about how his mom and dad were Salvation Army workers all of his life.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to myself, well, man, would you like to wear an Olympic Project for Human Rights button? And he was reaching for mine. I had to smack him on his wrist, like, chill, man. And this one, I'll get you one.
Yeah.
We had some white guys that was from Harvard University were rowers.
Mm-hmm.
And they were, you might say they were hippies at the time. You heard about hippies and beatniks. Well, that's what these guys were. They were real smart individuals. They all rowed for Harvard University, but they was into that particular boycott at the time. So quite naturally, they supported us. And when I was going out, I asked one of them to drop me a button down. And he's pointing to me, you got a button. And I'm telling the button is for Peter. So which that made them excited, the fact that he was going to do it. So I got the button and I put it on Peter. And mind you now, Mr. Norman didn't do any more than lend his support.
Sure.
Something that he thought was the right thing to do. And I'm sure he had an inside track on that because South Africa and Australia was running parallel to one another relative to their concept of people of color.
Sure.
So it was unfair there, and he knew the things that we were concerned about here in the United States was unfair as well. So he chose to support us. He didn't disrespect his flag, nor did he disrespect our flag. He stood there at attention. He didn't do anything wrong, other than the white society in Australia felt that thing he did wrong was to wear that button. And by wearing that button, it wasn't about humanity, it was about him supporting two young black individuals.
Right.
So like I tell people, I say, you think about the situation, the haters that's out there. Okay, in America, there's two individuals to hate. There's John Carlos, there's Tommy Smith.
Sure.
Well, if they're gonna beat up John Carlos, Tommy Smith gets arrested. If they're coming to beat up Tommy Smith, John Carlos gets arrested.
Right.
But in Australia, Peter Norman was in that country by himself.
He ain't getting no rest.
So he didn't 24/7, 365 for the time up till the time of his death.
Yeah.
And it really broke his heart.
Yeah.
Just the way it was. And they wanted him to denounce who we were, denounce what he did, but Peter never backed up. He never changed his tune, and he steadfast for what he believed in up to the time he died. Peter will always be a part of my family, man. I always say he's a brother from another mother as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
That's right. Wow. Unbelievable stuff.
What I find that's missing in modern times, Mister, is that type of unity. We don't have it anymore.
Well, that's why we're still stumbling and bumbling.
Yeah.
Because, and it's a thing that you could say this is something that we were taught. But my question is, when the hell are we going to start to teach ourselves?
Yes.
See, you heard about divide and conquer. Well, we didn't heard that for 100 years, 400 years. But when we decide that, hey, man, we can come together and we can make change when we come together and put our heads together. These situations that's going on is just like when they send that spaceship out to space, man.
Yeah.
It's a mathematical equation.
Yep.
This race thing is a mathematical equation as well. Yep. And we just need to roll our sleeves up and come together as one, man, to figure this shit out.
That's right. It is. Absolutely.
Yeah, I find that we've gone away from the concept that you and the meeting between to support Muhammad Ali. We've moved away from that in this modern culture that we're in because we don't want to mess up our money or whatever. But I think we should have never lost that because now we have more power as athletes.
Absolutely.
Well, you would think you have more power until you look up and you see the NFL come up and make a rule saying no more demonstrations during the games.
Yeah.
And my response is, okay, now the ball's in your court, athletes. what's your take on that? What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you have to find who has courage enough to step up and do the right thing when it's time. The fact that you have so many odds against you.
Yes.
And do you have the strength, the inner strength, the wisdom, the heart to say, man, I'm going to stand there for what's right, not for what you are telling me you're going to do.
Right.
We so stuck on money.
Yes.
Yeah.
We so stuck. And I hate to say this, man, but black people give me the impression that if they was in a 2-story house and their mom said, hey, John, I'm going across the street to see Miss Sue. Okay, Mom. And you sitting in the window looking out and you hear the door slam and you see your mother walk out, and as soon as she stepped off the curb, man, a car come and hit her.
Yeah.
You jump up, oh God, you run downstairs. But just as you open the door, here come a Brinks truck come and crash into the car, and 5 bags of money fall out.
Hmm.
The question is, who are we going to, Mama or the money?
Mm. Oh.
So if I went for the money, that's a given. And even if I hesitated, because I'm indecisive, there's my mother means more to me than this money means. In a lot of situations, man, they'll take the money before they'll take the mother.
Yep.
So let me.
Wow.
That was a great
That's great
analogy right there.
He was, bro.
With that, tying along to that, then what is your feelings about what we saw a few years ago in the NFL with players like Kaepernick raising his fist, taking a knee, and a handful of players joining with him, but the majority of them capitulating to the NFL and, in your example, running after the Brinks truck? What is your take about what you saw in those moments?
But you have to realize, man, that these individuals, a lot of them haven't found themselves. They haven't gotten in touch with the man in the mirror in terms of who they are, what they're looking for out of life. What do they think they're gonna make all the money?
Mr. Carlos, real quick, your hand is over your camera. There you go. There you go. All right, we can see.
We need to see that good goatee.
We gotta see that. We gotta see that salt and pepper, baby. We gotta see that.
What I was saying was, there's a lot of brothers that don't know who the man in the mirror is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when individuals come up to you and tell you, say, hey man, if you step out of line, you're gonna lose this money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how much money do you need to have in your bank account for you to step up as a man? I remember I asked O.J. Simpson that years ago. I said, man, you got millions of dollars. How many more millions you need before you can be your own man? And these never put that question to themselves. I mean, you sit back, you say, when do we come in our lifetime? We ain't never had $50,000 in our hand at one time.
Right.
These individuals are all-time millionaires.
Yeah.
So what they think it's going to be, now they got us, to the point where years ago we would sit down as black people and you see the multi-millionaire white folks on TV. Now you see on TV, we got the billionaire blacks on TV, the Beyoncés, and the Jay-Z's, and the Kanye Wests, and that sort of thing. And when you sit back and look at a lot of them, not to take anything away from them, but they ain't really in the market of trying to do anything to uplift their people.
Right.
They're about making that money.
Right.
So as long as that's going on, that's the growth factor for young kids. Man, I ain't concerned about you. I'm trying to get mine.
Yeah.
You better get yours. So it's not the old concept when I was a kid coming up in New York, say each one teach one.
Yeah.
You can't say that to a lot of Beyonce and Jay-Z fans.
But
I'm not
put you in the doghouse.
And it's not, I understand you're not knocking them. Yeah.
The beehive.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I don't know what they're doing. They might be funneling a lot of money into black schools or what have you. I don't know. But, that's not something that you need to hide either.
Right.
Okay? If you're doing something for your people to show love for your people, then get out and show that love for your people.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't do no backdoor shit. If people look and say, well, Jay-Z gave so-and-so, it's his choice to say to them, man, I gave and I ain't giving no more to nobody this year.
Right.
Okay? But you don't, I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying they need to be a little more transparent in terms of trying to help their people, period.
Yeah.
I got a quick follow-up.
I can say that about Shaq. Shaq is whatever
Shaq
Shaq
out
doing
right
now.
with his. He in the
Shaq
forefront with his. True story. Absolutely. He out there, brother.
Yeah, he's out there, and you see he throwing down, trying to help people in any way he can.
Sure.
Okay. I see Tyler Perry doing it from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I sit back and I said, well, I look at Oprah Winfrey. What have you done?
Mm-hmm.
I always get this thing in my mind about Oprah Winfrey. One day she had a show on TV, and they used to have sponsors to come in and say, well, everybody in the audience going to get this and get that.
Yeah.
And I remember they had a deal one day where they was giving a trip to Australia or New Zealand. I don't remember which, but I know it was over in that area. And there wasn't one black person in the audience when they was down. So I'm saying, what are you doing? And then when you sit back and look at a guy like me, I'm the bad guy because I'm making noise about fair play.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they look at me, but he's the troublemaker.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, anybody out there that want to think about being called a troublemaker.
Mm-hmm.
I was a troublemaker from the time I was a little boy because I was going against the grain.
That's right.
That's other people would see it, but they wasn't doing nothing about it. But I chose to do something about it.
Yeah.
But I heard this word troublemaker for so long. And then one day, like this spirit comes to me and tells me, say, John, I want you to think about this. Troublemaker. So let me show you some troublemakers. And I saw this little dude wrapped up in a sheet, man, with round rim glasses. And when I looked down the sand, it said Gandhi, troublemaker.
Hmm.
Then I saw another dude marching across the Selma Bridge. And I looked up, man, and he was a troublemaker. Martin Luther King.
Right.
You understand? I looked up, I saw another one, John Brown, white boy. Look down, man, say troublemaker. And then, when you sit back and you think about, said Jesus Christ, when all the dust, and you look down, they said Jesus Christ was a troublemaker too. So you have to realize to yourself, although they call you a troublemaker, you in damn good company with the people that was trying to make significant change.
Bingo.
Checkmate.
Yeah.
Checkmate. There it is.
Bingo.
We have another one that walked across that bridge, that Selma Bridge with Dr. Martin Luther King, named Mr. John Lewis, who recently passed away. Good trouble is what he used to say. Good. Let's get in good trouble. Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. Amazing, man. Amazing.
I was going to ask you this. During that Olympic time, being in the Olympic Village, and I know that there was some turmoil going on in Mexico City prior to the Olympics that year. But you mentioned his name earlier because he was in the Olympic Village with you, and if I'm not mistaken, you guys were on a relay team together, being O.J. Simpson. Not talking about him per se, but talk about the unification that you guys had at that time. Was there support for the movement you guys were making at that time with the other sprinters?
Not the support that you would think. And the reason why it takes a while, what I have to go under the bridge for me to evaluate this in my brain. We talked about trying to do an Olympic boycott of the Olympics, and people wasn't feeling it. And I was upset because they wasn't feeling it. Because it wasn't about me and it wasn't about them. It was about our kids and their kids.
Yeah.
We're going to sacrifice to make it better for them. Let's say if we took a step back from the Olympic or the Olympic movement, would the Olympics be as great as it is?
Probably
if
not.
we were to take a step back from the First World War, the Second World War, would America be as great as it is today?
Probably not.
If the black soldiers didn't go?
That's a good point.
Wow. See, that's the way you can make a statement and you don't have to drop no bombs. You ain't got to beat up nobody. But you just, man, I use my choice not to go.
Yeah.
But what happened was when you sit back and you take into account that there's so many individuals from the time they was knee-high to a grasshopper was taught to go for the gold, go to the Olympics, go for the gold, go for the gold. And now all of a sudden these guys been training all their life, and then here we come up, put the stop sign up and tell them, say, hey man, disregard going for the gold, man. We want y'all to boycott the games. What we had to do was to go to the library and study and research. So more likely when the press came to us and put the camera and the mic in our face, that we could articulate on the issues. And at the same time, being able to give these individual athletes an overview as to why we feel it's necessary they should buy into this boycott. But the urge to go to the game was so great. You know, you hear people say, well, man, I promised my church I was going to win. I'm going to bring a medal back. Man, I owe it to my community. My kids are looking for me. And we didn't really have the right to tell them, man, throw all that out the window. All we can do is make a suggestion to them. I'm sure here in, 50, 55 years later, I'm sure many of them would have said, yeah, man, if I'd have known then what I know now, yes, I'd have boycotted. I heard quite a few of them say that.
Sure.
But yet and still, man, the creator of this universe, man, works in a mysterious way.
Yes, indeed.
Because the boycott didn't come off, but that demonstration was the equivalent of the boycott and so much more.
Sure. Wow.
So John, I have a question for you. If you, right now in today's present time, if you could talk to your young self during that moment, during that time, what would you say, and would you do it all again?
With no hesitation whatsoever.
Good.
Yes, sir.
For the first time, people experience something on planet Earth. Everybody's in a negative sense around you. But when you know that you're doing the right thing, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, it's not going to take your opinion away or your decision away to do what you feel is right. No, I would never take anything away. Like I told you earlier, for any young individuals, in order for them to have the strength that I have or the vision I have, I got in touch with the man in the mirror at a very early age in my life.
That's right.
We have individuals right now that's grown, on their way to being grown, and don't know who they are or what they're about, where they're trying to go.
Wow. And see, that's why I was a big supporter of Kyrie Irving during last season for standing up and not taking the shot, because well, first it started in the bubble when he said we shouldn't play because we shouldn't make these billionaires who saying they now see what we've been going through. Here is 2020. You see what black people have been going through with police brutality and all that stuff. We shouldn't play. People just downgraded this man, and then they downgraded him more for not taking the shot. But I was a supporter of his.
But you have to take into account, man, that one thing Corey has on the line is the same thing that these women have on the line right now with this abortion bill. The same the two of them have on the line with, black people trying to have equality in this society. They're trying to take our choice away. You understand? Kyrie, he told me I have a choice and I choose not to take the shot. I choose not to play. You understand? If you want to stipulate me, fine. I won't play no games in New York.
Yeah.
He was man enough to step up to that.
Yeah.
You understand? Women are saying the same thing relative to, hey, man, you're taking my choice away in terms of how I feel about my body.
Yeah.
And I denounce what you're doing. And that's why they went to the Supreme Court and made all the demonstrations and going to still raise heck or hell through these elections that's going to go down as well.
That's right.
But then you sit back and think about the choice they're trying to take away from black people, the choice to send your kid to this university, the choice to pick your Muslim religion, the choice to, to live in this community. They want to take your choice away. And no one has the right to take your choice away, to tell you that you're less than what you are.
That's right.
Not in this country where we're supposed to have freedom.
We're supposed to be.
We're supposed to have freedom in this country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's freedom, but you see, you got to read the small print. It says freedom for white people.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the original. That's the original.
We don't read the small print. So freedom and justice for all white people.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Constitution wasn't written for us.
No, it was not written for anyone of color.
Yeah.
At all.
it's not written for us, but at the same time, when you say it's not written for us, so what are we doing about it?
Bingo.
What are we as a people doing about it?
Sure.
Okay? They got us so fragmented, man, until we can't get together. When you sit back and think about this, just think about Michigan, Detroit. And Detroit, Motor City was top at one time.
Yeah.
And then economically went into a depression to the point where they had 5,000 office buildings where the office was gone. The building, they took, give me $1 million. You could have 5,000 office buildings for $1 million. And you mean we get black people together, put money together? We had enough black professional people in the arts. We had enough professional black people in the sports. We got enough black people, professional black people in literary, and we couldn't merge. And you know where that comes from? That comes from when you guys was in school, in grade school. Now, what happens in our house, we have a lot of turmoil that goes on into a black house, particularly in the 50s and the 60s. You understand? Well, mom might be raising the kids by herself, but at the same time, mom starts sipping on the juice. A mom and dad might be there, might be some friction. Or the fact is that nobody's there and you got your little brother and sister, and you had to raise them, basically, feed them at night, make sure that they get to bed on time.
Right.
But the bottom line is you had a spelling test, and you were supposed to study for that test. But you come to me and say, man, I didn't get a chance to do the test, man. Did you study? Yeah, I got it. So let me see, give me a copy of your words. And I said, yeah, no problem. Come on, man, you can get them.
Yeah.
And then the teacher came up and said, John, cover up your paper. Don't let them see your paper. So John covers up his paper. Now, John knows why he went to give them the opportunity to copy off his paper, because this is a test they need to pass now. They got time to learn how to spell them words tomorrow. But John understands why they didn't get a chance to study them words last night.
Yeah.
The teacher don't give a why. All the teachers saying, cover up your paper.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we've been covering our paper forever relative to us coming together as one.
Yeah.
Now, I can't let you see how much money I got in my bank account. You live in the neighborhood that I live in.
Yeah.
I don't want you on the job that I'm on. We still trying to cover up because we want to be independent, as the teachers tell you. You're going to be the one to get the A in the class.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to talk about your football part of your life. What prompted you to get into football?
To feed my family. I didn't have any aspirations to be a football player, but they had locked me down so much economically after I got back from Mexico that any monies that I had prior to going to be not too long after Mexico.
Yeah.
So, rather than have my kids sleeping in the park, I had a house when I was young, and I refused to give up my house, and I refused even more so to have my kids moving into a park. So I went to play football, not because I enjoyed football, not because I thought I was good in football, merely because I thought that was a means for me to support my family. Yeah. And I said, as big as that damn football is anywhere in the world, I couldn't catch it.
Yeah.
Fallacy, I might say as well.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But that's the reason when I went into football, and at the same time, what probably edged me on to it is because after Mexico, if you notice, I dominated track and field for that 2 years. Then in 70, it was a choice, football or what does track have to offer me? Now to reach the ceiling in track and field was nowhere else for me to go. As far as competition went, by the time I left, man, the athlete wasn't running to try and beat John Collins. He was running to see who was going to be second to John Collins.
There you go.
So I needed a new challenge, and I needed a new methodology in terms of how I could economically support my family.
Right.
Absolutely. So with this idea that we brought up with your journey, man, going from Harlem to Commerce and then on to the Bay Area, to San Jose State. Upon arriving at San Jose State, you get wind of the Black Panther Party, Huey P. Newton, Stokely Carmichael. What impact, if any, did the Black Panther Party have on you as a young man?
No more than the fact that I was impressed that some black individuals got together and had the audacity to step up for their people.
Yeah.
We didn't have
Bingo.
any, association, a relationship with them. We were like friends. They were doing their thing to hold up our people, and we were doing our thing to hold up our
Sure.
people. Only direct relationship we had, someone painted a oil painting of the demonstration from Mexico. There was only one oil painting. Tommy wanted it, I wanted it. So we said the best thing we can do, man, is donate it to someone.
Yeah.
So he wanted to donate it to somebody, some other company. And I told him, I said, we're going to donate it to someone. We're going to donate it to the Black Panther Party.
Yeah.
And so that was the only direct involvement we had with the Black Panther Party. But we always admire their ideals and their courage and conviction for their people.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed, man.
As a track alumnus, what is your opinion on Shakiri Richards?
Ooh.
Good question.
Good
Well,
question.
I think somebody needs to get a hold of Shakiri and sit her down. And,
Yes.
People talk about, you can't talk to her. And she's, out the box. But if I was, let's say if I was involved with this young lady, and you go make probably one of the fastest times in the history of the sport, and then you get up on TV and say, yeah, well, I smoked a little weed last night, but she ain't did no more than a whole bunch of other people did.
Right.
But she made it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the fact is they could have stripped her for 2 years, but they decided, well, we're going to strip her for 2 years based on her talent. We're going to strip her for 30 days. We're going to punish her. We're going to hold her from going to the games. Okay. Now, if I was in her camp, that would be a perfect situation, a perfect scenario for me, economically. Because now she's run the fifth fastest time, the fourth fastest time in the history of the sport.
Yeah.
And then you kicked out the games. Now I got 30 days or 60 days to get ready to make sure when I come back, I'm going to dominate everybody.
That's right.
Because I know that I'm going to be able to come back after that 30-day suspension. And my job is to get this young lady prepared and let her know from A to Z as to why she's getting prepared and how much money she's standing to make as a result of being prepared and get her head right. But it looked like they didn't have any means of communication with her. I don't know if it's because she's flighty or because the coaches was weak and they turned it around when she thought she was the coach and they was the student. I don't know what the situation would be. But she needs to settle down and realize that she's in the sport, that she can make a legacy for herself and she can make a lot of money to bring her family out of the poverty that they're in.
Yeah.
So to add to that, because we've seen some amazing times over the last 10 years or so in track and field. Now in 68, Tommy Smith won the 200. I think he ran a 19.83, if I'm not mistaken. Now you see times, whether it's Usain Bolt's 1919 in the 200. You're seeing with Johan Blake's times and these other times. How do you feel about the state of track now and the speed?
Let's step back a minute. I ran at the Olympic trials in 1968. I was the first man to go below 20 flat.
That's right.
I ran 1970. And it took damn near 50 years for anybody caught up to that. But they took the record away because they said, as you guys mentioned, the entrance of the show about the brush spikes. But it wasn't about the spikes as much as it was they thought that they were punishing John Collins. We won't let him have the world record. But my attitude to the record is this, man. Anytime I break a world record, it's for America. It's not for me.
That's right.
I don't have a gold chain hanging around my neck saying I'm the world record holder. And I can go to the grocery store and they load up my cart for me to feed my family.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So they shot themselves in the foot in that sense.
True story.
But at the same time, what you're saying relative to yesterday opposed to today, the times that Tommy ran, the times that I ran, the times that Jimmy Hines ran, and others, you sit back and think, we ran it on crushed rock.
Yep.
We ran clay tracks.
Yep.
We ran it on asphalt tracks. We ran it on the first rubber track was about 3M, a tartan track.
Yep.
We ran with jerseys that if you didn't pull that jersey down, it was like a sail when the wind got up.
Yeah.
We were in shoes that was a lot more heavier today than at that time than they are today.
Sure.
So we had variables that we had to entertain as well as running these phenomenal times that we ran. And remember, these kids out there today, they're running country free, man. They don't have any political obligations. They don't have anything that they're standing for other than the fact that I want to show how good I am and hope to make a lot of money.
Right.
But we ran the records, we ran through the jungles, you might say, and at the same time stood for some equality along the way as well.
Yeah. I think we're missing. I think that's what we're missing. Like I spoke earlier is, being able to stand on our own too and really just, be one when it comes to black athletes. And I think we're missing that. So my question and my last question to you is, what is your greatest accomplishment? Is this?
Well, before we get to that, let me just say something.
Okay.
Back to think about track and field. You have to take into account that track and field is the grandfather of all sports.
Indeed.
Sure is.
Field, the first child from track and field was football or soccer.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Now, if you sit back and you look at all the sports combined, you look at soccer. To today, they still talking about Paley and others that was in his league.
Yes, they are.
Football, they still talk about Jim Brown and Joe Namath or anybody that was in their league.
Yes, sir.
You sit back and talk about baseball, it's the same situation. Yeah. How often do they talk about anyone that came from yesterday from track and field? And I was talking to Bob Beeman yesterday. Bob, my boy, and I said to Bob, look here. I said, well, you was on the right side or the left side of the street. It didn't matter because they just chose to leave 1968 alone, period.
They sure did.
They didn't judge us. And out of one side of their mouth, they said the 68 team was the greatest team of all Olympic teams.
Wow.
Yeah. But yet, even acknowledge none of the guys there, good or bad as they may see us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So all these things have to be, looked at and turn it around up and down and look at it for what it is. And they took the world record away from me. You know why they took that world record away from me? They took the world record away from me because they want to set a precedent to you guys. Because you coming up. If you step out, we took Carlos's medal away.
Yep.
That's what we're going to do.
They never took my medal, but that's the propaganda that they put out for 50 plus years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That they why? To intimidate any young athletes coming behind us.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't say this or I can't do that because if I do, they might take my medal away. And don't get twisted because they did come and make an attempt to take it. But then I had to let them know, say, man, you didn't give me this medal.
Yeah.
I earned this.
I earned it.
Knock on my bed, open slot, you can put me on the team.
Yeah.
I had to go through the process of elimination.
That's right.
I said, when I got the put me on the victory stand, I had to go through the process of elimination again on a worldwide basis.
That's right.
So if you think you got the medal, I don't know about Mr. Smith, but let me tell you about John Carlos.
That's right.
The medal has significant value to me, but it might have value in the world to my kids.
That's right.
So if you come in, you better bring the militia because you didn't.
You ain't coming to get it.
You ain't coming in my house
You
to
ain't
get it.
Go come get it.
Look, Mr. Carlos,
Better bring.
hey, it's funny
It's
that
like
you. I'm sorry.
You guys go to work for the week or the month, and when it comes time to get paid, I tell you I don't like the way you look, so I ain't paying y'all. What you gonna tell me?
That's right. Come on, man. Run me my money.
Bottom line, man, I did the job. You gonna pay me?
Run me my bread immediately. Look, we have a saying here at the here on Let the Ball Bounce, man, where we, when we get to talking about, different various, sports, basketball, football, but when we talk about trophies and accolades and things of that sort, man, we always say, if a player, if we say a player didn't deserve the MVP or didn't deserve the trophy, what you gonna run in his house and take it? you gonna run up in the man's house and take the medal? You're not gonna do that.
Not gonna do that.
Because, like you said, you got to bring the militia.
That's right. That's right.
Now, I got something real quick, and a lot of people may or may not even be privy to this, but after the protest, Jesse Owens came to you guys. Now, the question I have, was Jesse sent to talk to you guys, or was that done on his own account?
No, he was sent.
Mm.
He was sent. But I can tell you some things about Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to actually make Jesse understand this himself, because I don't think he fully understood up until the time we had to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse was in 1936.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know whether you guys can even envision what life was for a black person in America in 1936.
I don't even think I want to envision that.
And then at the same time, trying to envision how it was for a black man representing America in Nazi Germany with Hitler and the whole nine, right? So when Jesse came to us, they sent Jesse to us. But yet still, Jesse came to us with an open heart, because he was in the frame of 1936.
Sure.
What happened to you? What these white people can do to you? How cruel and vicious they can be. That's what was running around in his heart, in his head.
Sure.
Trying to protect.
Yeah.
But most people understand that. And and I told Jesse, I said, man, let me tell you something. I said, if you just stood up in 1936, maybe I wouldn't have to stand up in 68. But then years later, Jesse was the Grand Marshal for the Rose Bowl Parade, and they wanted me to be on one of the floats there.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going out there, must have been about maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It was cold, it was misting, damp.
Yeah.
And Jesse was in the tent, man. He's in there, he's shaking, his nose running and so forth. And I said, Jesse, man, did they get you a blanket or get you some soup or some hot chocolate? He said, John, I keep them, and they keep saying they're going to get it, but they ain't get that. So right away, man, I got to the point where I turned up the volume. Made them go get it right now. I don't know about tomorrow, get it now.
Yeah.
And when I look back at Jesse had tears rolling down his eyes, and I'm looking at him, I said, Jesse, what's wrong with you? And he said to me, he said, John, he said, man, I was wrong all this time. I was wrong. I said, what are you talking about? You was wrong. He said, man, you guys were right in Mexico City.
Wow.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I said, no, you wasn't wrong. I said, man, you was looking through the glass, but not. You was looking back in 1936 as to what they did to you and what they did to others.
Sure.
You understand? I said, you had our well-being concerned. Yeah. I said, you knew for a while after a period of time that they came and dusted you off and put that suit on your back and put some money in your pocket because they wanted you to use that, be that tool against what we were standing for.
Yeah.
Don't never put yourself down because you did it for the right reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sent you because they didn't have nobody else they could send.
Yeah.
Because from what I saw, and Jesse kind of sounded like, the pundits that we hear today, or the true NFL fans that say we don't want politics in the sport. That's he said that word for word. We don't. I don't think we need politics in the sport.
They've said that during the Olympic movement forever, and I say to him, I said, well, I tell you what, if you don't want politics into the sport, I say instead of having every nation flag up, because
yeah,
one Olympic flag represents every nation.
Yeah,
understand?
Yeah.
I say, and you can put the name of the athlete on the back, and if you want to put a little tag what country they from, that's fine. I said, but y'all raising flags, y'all raising anthems. If that's not political,
that's politics all day.
Absolutely. I say, and then when Jesse Owens and them was in Berlin in '36, I say Avery Bronner was playing politics in terms of how they got the games to Berlin.
Hello.
They lined his pockets.
Wow.
He got the contract to build the United States Embassy in Germany.
Mm.
And
So it was all political and economical, but that swirls over our head or behind our back.
and Mr.
And even taking into account, we as black people, and this is something I realized when I was a little kid. Me and my brother, they had two guys used to come through with a horse and buggy when I was a little boy in New York. One of them was the Ice Man, and the other guy was the Produce Man. Well, we used to go snap oranges, apples off the produce stand. And I remember one day we was running through the alley, and they had the alley walk from 7th Avenue to 8th Avenue. And my mother was coming through with some of her girlfriends. Man, and we run through the alley, and I hear the woman say, "Wasn't that Johnny?" And I'm saying, "Oh, man, I got to go home." But my brother was concerned about my father getting to us. And I wasn't concerned about getting my butt whipped. I was more concerned about the horse. And my brother kept saying, "Mom, why are you tripping with that horse?" I said, "Man, did you see what they did?" And you know what they did to the horse? The same thing they do to us. They took his choice away.
Wow.
You understand? You know how they took his choice away? They put blinders on his eyes.
Yeah.
So he can't look to the say, "Oh, I like it over there," or look to the right, so I like it over there. They train his ass by putting them blinders on to just look straight ahead the way they want him to go.
Yeah.
That's what they do to us every day.
Wow.
Yes, they
We
do.
have blinders.
Wow.
That's why we can't get to the man in the mirror.
You know,
That's not the
I love it. I love it. The interview is good because I think you woke up a lot of people who thought they were woke already.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just trying to do my part. If I can enlighten anybody, if I hit one person a day,
That's
my
it.
job is done.
Yeah.
That's right. Wow. Wow.
And I don't care whether I'm talking to that one person or I got 1,001 people in the auditorium. All I'm trying to do is reach that one person.
Yeah.
Because no one could ever be that one person can change the tide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Carlos, what do you think your greatest accomplishment is to this date?
My greatest accomplishment to this day. Well, I think my greatest accomplishment, I would have to lend to my kids, man, and say that I think I did a pretty good job raising my kids, concerning all the shit that I've gone through.
Yes.
Oh boy, man.
The fact that my kids not strong on drugs, the fact that they're not crazy, the fact that they're still striving and walking in their father's footsteps. I think that's a great accomplishment in itself.
Yeah.
Because this whole thing is about having some purity when they get to be my age and their kids get to be their age. You understand?
Yeah.
So just to think that they're solid as a rock.
That's right.
And I think that's me. And I think how I'm like that is because I always looked at myself in the time I was a little kid. I always looked at myself as a man. I was a little man. I was a man.
That's right.
I'm a grown man. I'm still a man.
That's
Yes.
right.
And when I die, what do you want your tombstone? Here lies a man.
Here lies
Like I said, I'm gonna be a man all my life. I'm gonna do manly things, man. And I ain't gonna let nobody deter me from what I think is the right thing to do as a man.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, there's a little quote from. Well, I have the quote in my phone where it says, "If you follow the masses, when you remove the M, that's who you following."
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Follow that.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
When you follow the masses, when you remove the M, that's who you're really following.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, man.
The truth. The truth.
Heavy statement.
Yeah.
Heavy statement.
Yeah.
But then you look at it and see how wide and far it goes.
Yeah.
It's like I say, man, how we got all this money professionally and we can't merge together to buy a block.
Wow.
We talk about it all the
we
time.
gotta wait another 20 years before we get to that level.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I put this out there to all young black men in particular to make them understand, say, hey man, you a youngster, until you go and start using your sex tool.
Mm.
When you use your sex tool and you find that woman and you fertilize that egg, then your life becomes secondary.
Yes. Yes.
Because what you're doing from that point on is to make sure that that kid has a better opportunity in life than your mother and father had,
Yep.
and then you had.
Yep.
You don't want kids to be walking behind you. You understand? You don't even want them walking next to you. You want them walking in front of you. You don't want them below you. You want them above you.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't gotten to the point where we realize that. I mean, if we sit back and think about what's it take for an individual to take $50 and put it in the bank the day that the baby is born, and by the time that baby is 20 years old, that $50 and turn into some money to help this kid get a foundation to do whatever he's trying to do in life.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't think about that because we're not taught that. But we never think about being self-taught. What can I do to make my situation better?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, I said, look, man, let me tell you something. You live in a depressed area. I see you look like you don't see nothing but blue days or cloudy days. I said, man, but what you do, man, you go get you some sunflower seeds and throw some sunflower seeds. Just throw them, let nature take its course. When the rain comes, them flowers going to blossom, and it's going to give you a bright attitude.
Yeah.
Understand? Give you some hope. Understand? Brighten up your shit rather than letting them kids tag up your neighborhood and shit. They tag up your neighborhood, and then what does the white man do? The first thing he do in your area where you live, you start putting up barbed wire all up the freeway and barbed wire everywhere. And you go out in the valley, out in the suburban areas, you don't see that out
Ain't no
there
barbed
where
wire
white
down
folks
there
live.
now. Ain't no barbed wire down there.
Hey, you feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So we need to take a serious look at ourselves.
Yes.
We know what Charlie's done to us, but now we need to put that on the box and start to take a look at ourselves and realize what we're doing to us.
Being accountable for your own actions. And you said something that was, just really fitting and needed in today's climate is being able to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Because we all look at it ourselves in the mirror every day.
Yeah.
But it's that one person who's able to look in the mirror and say, you know what? Today I'm going to be completely honest with myself.
Yep.
Am I doing enough for myself?
Introspect.
Absolutely.
We don't even look in the mirror.
Yeah.
We looking at a reflection of what's happening in the mirror.
Yes.
Understand? Looking at me comb my hair, or brush my hair, or me wash my face or brush my teeth. But I'm not getting into the person that this all is being applied to.
That's right.
The mirror is more like a cosmetic thing for most people. You understand? They ain't looked at that self-image one time and say, what is it all about? What am I here for? What do I want? How am I going to get there? What do I want for my kids? And, if you sit back and think about it, a lot of times it might be so much stress on you as a result of you not being able to see that. And how do you determine that? You live in Vegas.
Yeah.
Leave the comforts of the new shiny roofs and the pretty cars and everything bright. Start driving towards the hood.
Yeah.
And see how the bright light is not there no more and things ain't pretty and new no more. And you notice as you going towards the hood, depression is starting to set in more and more the closer you get.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you decide to turn around and go back to work.
Yeah.
And you see depression starts to leave you.
Yeah.
The same way as it came on you when you was going home.
Yeah. We see it every day, man. Unfortunately, we see it every day.
But we don't take note to it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what the problem is, taking note to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I think we need to do more. I think this interview has sparked me to do more for myself, more for my family, my kids, and my community. I thought that I was doing enough, but I really need to look myself in the mirror and say, there's more that you can do, because us at this table have come from that desolate area. We've come from that hood, that ghetto, and we've kind of, raised ourselves up out of that. But we need to go back and help other people come up out of that also. And I really thank you for your words today.
Well, just reach out to as many, excuse me, as many youngsters as you can. Understand? A lot of fathers been missing in action for the last 56 years.
Yes.
Understand? A lot of young black kids is not growing up with a man figure in the house. And, when I sat back and thought about when I was a kid, and I had gone to one of my buddies' house. Like I said, we were fortunate. My father had his own business. My mother went back to school, became a nurse at Bellevue Hospital. But a lot of parents, when the drugs came in, the fathers left. They never came back. A lot of them never came back. You understand? So therefore, the mothers in there, the average family had at least 3-4 kids in there. Most of them were boys. How's mama gonna raise a boy and think that she could actually step in the shoes of a man? Okay? So now here, I go to my man's house this particular day, and hear this knock on the door. Open the door, white woman there, and my man's mother said good morning to her. The white woman just brushed on by, didn't even acknowledge it. She was standing there, much more said good morning. And then she walks in, man, she goes look in the ashtray. And I'm looking at my man, I said, Dorian, what's she doing? He said, man, just be cool, check out. She leaves the ashtray, man. She go look up in the bedroom, look in the closet. She looking all up under the bed. And then it dawns on me. She's looking to see if she see anything that represents a male figure living in that house.
Wow.
Because if she saw it, that takes away the social service or the welfare check that they was getting. Made me think right away, are they about helping us or are they about hurting us? How you going to try and pull it out and this woman going to try and raise these 4 boys by herself? So then it began to make me realize that, hey, man, everything that glitters ain't gold.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. And I try to have, I try to keep that with my kids. Success comes from you, not to you.
No, come on now.
Right.
Come on now.
That's right.
So.
Wow.
When I used to break in the freight trains out in front of Yankee Stadium in New York. So the first time I went over there, man, I went over to explore. And when I saw, man, they was just starting to come through with frozen food, with, spinach and mixed vegetables. And then they had little portable radios and clothes and so forth. And I done gone through my partner's houses, man. They didn't have food in the cabinets. They didn't have no clothes other than the clothes they wore to school every day. Little girls didn't wear jeans and pants to school. They wore a dress. Their mother would stay up in the iron and wash and iron that dress every night so the daughter have a decent perspective of herself the next day. So I would hit the freight trains. I had 2 buddies of mine. We'd go hit them freight trains, man. And I remember we used to come across 155th Street Bridge. And you stopped. They used to have a little booth there. The guy that opens up the bridge, he wait until they call him and he open up the bridge, let the ferry through or what have you. And I stopped one day and I said to him, I said, man, listen, you see us rolling through here pretty regular. I said, man, the police gonna come and ask you to open this bridge up. I said, if you give us 5 minutes after they call you, every time I come by, man, I'll leave you something. And he looked at me, he said, man, I can't do that. And when he said that, I kind of turned away, kind of dejected. And he turned back and he said, but I can do it for 3 minutes. So I had to tell my buddies, this ain't about our pockets. We ain't looking to get fat pockets. I used to tell them, you ain't got no food in your house. But I would leave clothes and radios to people in the neighborhood. And the only thing I would tell them, don't tell my father. Because my father was a straight up dude. He used to tell me, nah, that's not the way we're going to do this, that, and the other. My mother used to tell me, Johnny, you're going to spend half your life in the penitentiary. And I used to tell my mother, Mom, I don't know what script you reading, but that's not the script I have.
Script.
Now, how in track and field, I got involved in track and field based on my bringing in them freight trains. Because New York police, they couldn't catch me. They'd catch my boys every time. They could never catch me. But they me something because they caught me with their eyes. You understand? I used to have to tell the security in the schools when I was teaching, say, man, you don't have to run that kid across the street. You're going to get killed or he's going to get killed. I said, but you can catch him with your eyes. And they went to my father and told my father, said, Earl, there's been some break-ins, freight trains, and you need to tell Johnny. And my father stopped and said, no, that's your job. You need to tell him. And in Coons Park, right out where the new Yankee Stadium is built right now. And they roll up on me. One of them was like 6'6", Mr. Bryant, he was 6'6". Mr. Lester was about maybe 5'11", 6 feet. And Mr. Bryant said, "Go on, Mr. Lester, tell him." Mr. Lester said to me, he said, "You know, it's been some break-ins at the freight yard. We think we know who's doing it." He said, "We can't do anything to him until we catch him." And then he took his nose and he brushed his nose up against mine and said, "We gonna catch him." Where you better slow your roll.
Yeah, right.
So Mr. Tell him the other thing. And Mr. Lester said, "Oh yeah, you have a talent." I have a talent. What are you talking about? He said, "You're a runner." When he said you're a runner, I said, like smirk. And Mr. Bryan smacked me, man. I never forget. He smacked me on the left side of my head, right side of my head, and his fingers landed on the left side. He said, "Don't you ever disrespect Mr. Lester." I said, "I'm not disrespecting him." Because at that time, that era, there was a lot of kids didn't have no jobs, wasn't making no money, and they was doing a lot of purse snatching. They'd snatch a black woman's purse in a minute. Okay? So when he said that I was a runner, something to do with it, snatched my mother's purse one night. And my mother gone, she's working at Bellevue, and she leave the house about 10 o'clock. She come back this particular night with her legs all bleeding, man, stockings all torn up. Wow. And me and my brother got hot. What happened? So a kid snatched my purse. So we going to look for this dude. My mother said, "Nah, I'm okay. All I need is some Mercurocone, iodine, some bandages. I'll be all right."
Yeah.
My father said, "No, Bob, we going to get your purse." My mother said, "Oh, I got my purse." And we all, "How you get it?" She said, "I ran him down and got my purse." Made me tell her, man, I said, "Man, everybody's a runner."
Yeah.
And they told me, she said, "No, you're special." And they gave me a number to the New York Pioneer Club. Wow. And that's how my career got started in track and field.
Wow. Unbelievable story right there, man. Wow, that's amazing, man. Just to hear your go ahead.
No, the hook was, when I was going to school, in the interim I told you guys I wasn't interested in school. School was supposed to be about trying to get you in a position where you could make money. Well, I was a good hustler in the city. I can make money. Okay? But what happened was they brought the Mona Lisa to the States, and they had in this enormous crate. So I thought the Mona Lisa must have been 100 by 100, size-wise, because it's such an enormous crate. So I had this teacher, Miss Seneca, used to pull down the geography map every day, and she would come to me like a pain in my side, man. Yeah. "Johnny Collins, come up here." And she'd give me the pointer and stand inside and say, "Show me Germany. Show me Sweden. Show me the United States." And I'd just stand there. "Go on back to your seat." Next day, she'd be right there. So about the fourth or fifth time, I said to her, I said, "Miss Seneca, why you keep calling me up there? Why you keep trying to embarrass me?" Because everybody be snickering and laughing. These dumb ass don't know nothing, right?
Yeah.
And she says, I said to her, "I ain't never going to none of them places." And she looked at me, she said, "Well, I have a question for you." And I said, "What's that?" She said, "Are you God?" And when she said that, my lip dropped. How God get in the equation? "No, I'm not God." See, "I know you're not God because God told me to get you ready for where you're going." Less than a month later, man, I was on my first trip outside the United States. For me, a trip was to go like from Yankee Stadium up to Buffalo, New York, to Buffalo firefighters up in there at Niagara Falls. Or to go over to Yonkers somewhere. Yeah. Now we going to Trinidad. What's Trinidad? I didn't know there was something you wore, something you ate, or what. What's Trinidad? They said, "I got a trip." "What's Trinidad?" And he said, "Well, son, that's one of the Caribbean islands. When we get off work, I'll show you. We go to the library, look at the globe." And he showed me. And I said, "Well, Daddy, I don't see no roads, no bridge. How are we going to get there?" He said, "Son, you flying this time."
That's right.
Never been on in my life.
Wow.
I went to Trinidad, and it liked me so much because this is the first time I seen a country of all black people. Black president, black janitor, black cook, black educator. Everybody was black. The police was black. So I fell in love with the place. But my game in the sport has gotten so good to say, "No, we don't want you going back to Trinidad. You going to Europe." So the next year when I went to Europe, the first thing I'm thinking about, what do you think it is? I'm thinking about that Mona Lisa. I want to see that portrait.
That's right.
So when I went home, the first thing I want to do is go to the museum in Rome. I want to see the Mona Lisa. And when I got there and I saw at the Mona Lisa, it was not much bigger than a 10 by 10.
Yeah.
Okay. I looked at the portrait, and I'm leaning up against the wall checking it out. It's almost like my brain opened up, man, and education became paramount in my mind from that point on.
Wow.
And that's why I strive so hard to tell kids, don't go through school, go to school.
That's right. Wow. Wow. Unbelievable stuff, man, that we've heard from one Dr. John Carlos today, man. Just unbelievable stories, man. Just going from one end of the spectrum to another, man, telling us, I feel like I've known the man my entire life now.
Yeah.
I just met him a couple of months ago here at Resorts World. Had a good conversation with him, and now I feel like I've known him my entire life, man. Yeah. Just based off this hour and a half, man, that we've had with him here on Let the Ball Bounce, man. Again, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and I know Dre alluded to it earlier, but we can't really say it enough, man. The influence, brother, that you bestowed upon us, everybody here at this desk, is astronomical. It's astronomical, to say the least, brother, and we appreciate you for that. Thank you, sir.
We appreciate
Thank you.
Listen, man, you guys got to get the radio show out there and set it up when Avis come back to Vegas, man, so y'all can do a live show with Avis.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. I've been telling the fellas. I actually got a chance to play a couple of rounds of golf with her. Phenomenal. She, of course, phenomenal. She just participated in the U.S. Senior Open out there in Ohio. So we will be getting Miss Avis Brown Riley on the show here really, really soon, man. But we want to thank you, man, for taking your time out. We know you 3 hours ahead. You stayed up to rock with us and tell your story, man. We are indebted to you, brother.
Yes.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, man, and I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to share. And once again, Spencer Haywood, we just sending out love to you, brother.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And come on back strong.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
And John, before you go, man, I want to let you know I promise to leave this studio and go and start some trouble.
That's right.
Be a troublemaker.
That's right.
I want to go find some of those brush spikes that you wore, increase my 40 time or something.
Oh, you're done. You're done.
You're done. You're done.
You're
It's
done,
over.
bro.
It's over.
Don't even try it.
Don't never let nobody take your choice away in life.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
Wonderful, man.
Right? If tell a person, if you've been making a mistake all your life, man, ain't nothing wrong with turning around.
That's right.
People think invention was an airplane and a typewriter or some shit like that. The greatest invention was something in the back of a barrel or a pencil.
Yeah.
It's the eraser.
That's right.
It's the theory that you can make a mistake, but you can correct your mistake and move forward in your life.
Come on now. Talk to me.
A lot of brothers that go to jail, they don't realize that thing that I said, they hooked in that scenario of the revolving door.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable stuff, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. John Carlos, man.
Send me a copy of the show if possible.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
definitely.
Absolutely.
We will.
No question about it. We'll have it uploaded tomorrow.
Guys, take care, man. God bless and stay safe.
God bless.
God
Thank you,
bless,
sir.
sir. Thank you so
brother.
much. Wow, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dr. John Carlos, man.
That's what we do, man, here at
Unbelievable
Let the
stuff.
Ball Bounce Sports Talk Radio Show, man. Every Tuesday at 6 p.m., every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific Coast time, man. We are here to give you guys the best of sports talk radio, man. Great interview. One of our epic interviews, man. Definitely.
No question.
Hands down. Probably, the greatest to this date,
No,
man.
no question.
There's a lot of truth, a lot of soul searching,
Yeah.
and a lot of knowledge that was being shared from Dr. John Carlos today, and great questions
Excellent, man.
from the panel today.
Y'all-
And Goose, we
y'all,
appreciate
dude.
you for extending that olive branch, man, when
Brother.
you went out and met a whole bunch of a slew of people. Let the Ball
no
Bounce
doubt,
was
man.
was out in the
We there,
building,
man.
man. And so
We're
we're here
always
to
gonna be
stay,
there,
man.
man.
Like we told you at the beginning of this year, man,
Yes,
we have a
sir.
lot of great things coming from the Let the Ball Bounce Sports Talk Radio crew, man.
Yes, sir.
And once again, we want to extend our thank you and appreciativeness to Dr. John Carlos
Yes, sir.
for doing a great interview today. If you want a copy of the interview, just let us know. Please share the live feed, man. We are here to give you guys the best of Sports Talk Radio, man, with your guy, Dre Bailey,
Man, Goose Thomas.
Bill Blockham Logan, Sherm in the building, man. This is what we do. And if you scared,
Go start some trouble.